Welcome to this astrology forecast by Integration Astrology, and we're taking a look at the new moon, which is also a total solar eclipse happening on Saturday the 4th of December in most time zones, I think, either later in the day or perhaps you're looking even at later in the evening for you, so just depending on where you are in the world, so check that out. But it's on Saturday, so it's going to be quite a big day. It's happening in Sagittarius, and this will be the last eclipse that we have in Sagittarius next year. As the nodes move into Taurus and also Scorpio, then we're looking at our eclipses will be in those signs instead, because they're always going to be really conjunct the nodes. And so at the moment, the South Node is still in Sagittarius, so this is also a South Node eclipse. So that kind of brings in a little bit of contradictory energy, because we're looking at simultaneously new beginnings when we're looking at a new moon, but we're also looking at releasing, because we're talking about the South Node. So it kind of has that energy of a full moon in many ways, but it is a new beginning. But it's not going to be a new beginning without the release of something from the past, or your new beginning won't be as powerful if you don't release something at this time. And because the nodes are having their final moments in Sagittarius and Gemini, where they've been for 18 months, it's really good to be looking at, okay, so what exactly is my new beginning? What do I need to let go of before the nodes move, before new eclipse seasons begin in 2022? And of course, we've got a lot happening in December, but we'll talk about them in other videos. So for now, I'll talk generally a little bit about what we should be considering here in Sagittarius, and then I'll go through each of the houses. So all you need to do is locate where 12 degrees of Sagittarius is in your chart, which house. So then you can look at the timestamps below and click forward to that particular house and listen to the horoscope for you. Also, of course, you want to also take a look at your own chart in regards to what do you have very close to 12 degrees Sagittarius, if anything. Or perhaps 12 degrees of, well, I guess any sign, but especially those signs that are making a 90-degree angle with Sagittarius. So you want to look at Pisces, Gemini, of course, and also Virgo. So if you have planets or angles at 12 degrees of those signs, then I think you're really going to experience something on Saturday. You want to really think about what this means. It'll tell you a lot about what sort of phase you're at in your life, what you're awakening to. And of course, if you would like to share that with us here in the comments, anything that you discovered, that's also always really helpful to other people learning astrology and learning about what the archetypes mean. Let's take a look at what we're talking about when we're talking about a Sagittarius situation. New beginnings from releasing what? So Sagittarius is all about truth and beliefs and intuition and your inner knowing and all of these sorts of things. So what we're really looking at here is releasing something for a new beginning. Collectively, I really think it's an opportunity for a lot of us, most of us, to awaken to a truth. So instead of following whatever we've been believing about a situation, And I have things in mind when I'm thinking about the pandemic situation that we're in. But having a look at the real truth and what is factually true, what we can know, versus what we might think we know or what we're believing because of other parts of our psyche. So often we believe things because it serves another purpose, or it serves us to believe that because we feel safer that way, we feel protected that way, or we feel that it continues to reaffirm our history, our patterns, even our traumas. So what you want to look at is, what sort of belief have you been holding, in particular, I suppose, over these last 12, more than 12 months, 18 months really, in your life, that don't serve you anymore, that you could release for a new beginning. And a new beginning that allows you to weave together facts of your own, information of your own, and understanding that is entirely your own. Because as we move on from here into 2022, we'll be more looking at things about transforming ourselves, and really having a look at the tug of war between power and safety on a collective scale, and also looking at the feeling of our boundaries versus our values. Of course, everything spans across the spectrum of what is very personal to the collective. So your personal beliefs are operating for you right now, as they always are, but in what way are they intersecting also with what is happening on the collective level in terms of what we're witnessing about what we truly know, what we think we know, what we accept as being truth and knowledge and real information, things that we can trust in, versus the lies and where people are not being honest, when we're not being honest with ourselves. So consider things on that whole spectrum. What we'll look at now is we'll take it around the 12 houses to look at what that might mean for you personally, depending on which house it is in for you. So we'll start with the first house as well. Now just keep in mind that as I go through, I'll be changing the time of day. So as I change the time of day, the moon will move further away from the sun. But okay, wherever the sun is, that's the house that we're going to be looking at. So don't worry too much about how it appears on the software. Okay, so taking a look now at the first house. So this is all about you, your identity, who you know yourself to be, who you want to be, who your belief in who you are, your belief in your right to exist, your belief in following your instincts, your belief in going your own way, following your own path. These are the themes of a Sagittarius first house. So in what ways do you feel, or what beliefs in that area are holding you back? Is it time to release? Could it be that you have believed that you're in some way limited in becoming who you want to be? And if so, is that a belief that it's now finally time to let go of, so that you can have a new beginning in this area of your life, a new beginning in creating a new set of beliefs about yourself, creating a new set of beliefs about what is the nature of this reality that we're in, what you're here to do, what you're here to experience, what you're here to explore, which passions you're here to follow, all of those sorts of things. So that's something to consider if this eclipse is happening in your first house. Okay, let me move it around now to the second house. Oops, always do that, go the wrong way. Okay, having a look now at the second house. So if this is happening for you in your second house, then the second house is what you believe about your safety, your very personal safety, your financial safety, really the safety of reality, the safety and security of your resources, your finances, where your money supply is coming from, your food supply, all of those sorts of things. It's also talking about your beliefs and intuition around what you value personally and what you value about yourself. So, of course, our beliefs and values are very much intertwined, and they are often a reflection of what we believe about our own self-worth. So usually starting at that level, the rest can really span from there. So if you're thinking about, let's say that you have a belief right now that your health is at risk, or your source of income is at risk, and this has really been occupying your mind, you want to have a look at where is that belief coming from, and does that need to be true? Is that your belief? Is it something you've inherited over these 18 months? Does it stem to something further back, deeper within you? Something that you held on to for a lifetime that has culminated in a situation where there might be a belief, something that you've seen from your childhood that now you're experiencing on an adult level, and it's just repeating this thing. And you want to take a look at, okay, is this a relatively new belief that I've adopted due to the situation that I'm living through? And can I see this from a new perspective, have a new belief, have a new way to look at what's going on, and to take action from there? Or is there an old entrenched belief about my ability to resource myself, keep myself safe, keep myself financially supported, that I need to look at, release, change, and create a new belief about, because this is a repeating theme in my life? So those are some things to consider with the eclipse happening in your second house. Moving along now to the third house. So if the eclipse is happening in your third house, this is a lot of beliefs about your right to speak your truth, your ability to speak your truth, your ability to communicate what you believe. Mostly. Also, it can be also to do with things to do with beliefs intersecting with your immediate community. So things that are happening in literally your suburb, your town, your city, that you are experiencing and connecting with. It can also be something to do with your beliefs about your ability to learn, gather information as well. So still very personal, and something that you want to consider about what you are believing in one of these areas. So let's take the first example, that you believe that you're just one person and so you can't really, your voice doesn't matter. Or perhaps you believe that you need to be invited or encouraged or welcomed to speak. A lot of these will come, will show up in different areas of your chart. So it really depends a lot on, which one of these are true. Depends a lot on other aspects in your chart. Or let's say that you're believing that your community and the way things are in your particular town or suburb really dictate or hold some sort of control or power of your life. I mean, these you just want to look at the intersection really between your beliefs about these sorts of third house topics, and which of those you might want to look at releasing now. So perhaps it's time to release this idea that you can't speak up about your beliefs, let's say. To release that, and to do that, you want to look at, why does that exist? Where does that come from? Where have I adopted that belief? Why do I think that's true? And then take a small step forward into a new beginning on that. By doing so, you become aware of the belief and you're able to turn that into a new action. And a new action will help form this new belief that you want to be more conscious of. So think about those things if this eclipse is happening in your third house. If we're looking at the fourth house, so the fourth house is all about home. So it can be your beliefs about home, what constitutes home, what it means to feel at home. Or it can be on a deeper level, and of course these are connected anyway, and this is your sense of emotional well-being and your beliefs around what influence your emotional well-being and your beliefs about how it is that one achieves a sense of emotional well-being. Probably for you, whatever belief it is that you uncover, the release might be quite literally an emotional release, because we're talking about a house that is a water house, so, and an emotional house. So it could be that part of the release is less an action, as I was speaking about with the third house, and much more to do with an emotional release of some kind. So reframing perhaps what home means to you, what family means to you, what roots mean to you, that might be important in being able to address this belief that is holding you back and has been holding you back. Again, if you look at the cycle of 18 months, you want to look at what theme. Has it literally been about your actual home, or has it been about your sense of home? Perhaps it's been about your sense of family. Perhaps it's been about your something about your emotional well-being. One of those things has likely been the theme, as we've had the South Node in Sagittarius all this time. So you want to have a look at, okay, this is the last round of what that I should be releasing and making a new start on. How can I reframe that and adopt a new belief? Moving around now to the fifth house. So if the eclipse is happening in your fifth house, this is beliefs around entitlement, beliefs around your creativity, beliefs around being special, being seen, being important, and these sorts of things. So can be beliefs around romance. It can also be beliefs around children. So you want to look at what is coming up for you, but probably it's more something to do with the beliefs about what you feel you deserve or are entitled to receive, what you feel, what you believe and know about your own creative expression and potential, what you believe about having fun, playing, being joyful, what you believe about your right to be seen, to be known and seen as special. So if you take one of those, whichever one resonates, and again, take a look at the last 18 months to sort of see which of those seems to be a more recurring theme, and have a look at which belief has limited you. So let's say that you've, over the last 18 months, you've really been experiencing a blockage creatively, or you wanted to try something, you wanted to get your creation out into the world, you wanted it to be acknowledged and seen, but you just believed what? What have you been believing? Because you might think that what's been happening to you is just very factual, but actually it's more to do with what you've believed about the situation. So you want to try and tune into that and see what it is that you need to release around that and what new beginning you could make. So probably a new belief requires just some action with so much fire that we're looking at here. And that action could be to simply launch that creative project, or just to do some small thing that puts yourself in front of other people, or just to tune into how much you think and know that your creativity is worthwhile and special and worthy of being seen. So you want to think about that, and of course it could be in any of those areas. That's just one example, but that is something to consider for the solar eclipse happening in the 5th house. Moving on to the 6th house now. So if we take a look here, then we're looking at themes of your beliefs, perhaps about your work, like your actual job and the work you do daily, themes about your health, themes about your daily routines, themes around the beliefs about your daily life. Can also be really having a look at the beliefs around, or the beliefs that are actually coming through all of the mental chatter. The 6th house is all about all of that mental energy and that monkey mind, or that busy mind that's always talking to you. The mind that is always talking to you, the parts of yourself that are always talking to you, are showing you so much about what you believe. Are you aware of them? Do you need to tune into them? Do you need to take a look at what they've been telling you, or what they've shown you believe, and how that's impacting your everyday life? So let's say that you've had a belief that your everyday life is lacking in excitement, and you just think, well, that's just the way it is, and that's just, whatever you're living through, perhaps. But what you want to look at is what is sort of your mental chatter that's going on that is making you really think that way, and is there something that you can do about changing the way that you think about your day-to-day life? Is there a way that you can see things more positively, more optimistically, more enthusiastically? For example, let's say that you have a belief about your health, that health is something that happens to you that you are not a part of at all. Just if you have good health, it's just luck. If you have bad health, it just happens to you out of the blue. Is there another way to look at that? Is there a way to see that actually health is perhaps a manifestation again of all of this chatter and all this stream of consciousness that's going on constantly, and that then accumulates in a particular way in a particular part of your body, again depending on a lot of other factors in your chart? Is there a different way to look at it? Could you research something about that helps you find a new way to look at your health and a new way to connect your beliefs with your health? So those are just a couple of examples to take a look at that help you tune into what might be coming up for the solar eclipse for you. And of course, to tune into that, really have a look back at the last 18 months to get a better idea of what it might mean. Taking a look now at the 7th house. The themes that we're looking at here are beliefs about relationships, beliefs about your needs being met or meeting other people's needs, beliefs about your actual partner, your romantic partner, or your beliefs about your relationship with someone you're very close to. It doesn't need to be a romantic partner. Also, it can be your beliefs about legal proceedings, something like that, where it's sort of the balance of you versus something. So you versus the law, for example, or you versus another person. It's really all about that and your beliefs around that. So if you take a look at the last 18 months, what have you been dealing with? Has it been a particular one-to-one relationship, whether that be in the workplace or with your partner? Or has it been could be your beliefs about that other person even existing in your life? The balance of that could be about the beliefs to do with a legal proceeding. What's been going on there? So you want to have a look at that, and you want to look at the beliefs around that and what needs to be released. So let's say that you have a partner, and in this partnership you believe that you must meet their needs, they don't need to meet your needs. Perhaps you don't realize you believe that. Perhaps you're very frustrated by the fact that you put so much effort into doing things for them and anticipating things for them, and that they don't do any of that for you. But trace it back first to what you believe about it. Have a look at the patterns of your life, trace it back, see where it might come from. Analyze that first before you decide to take some action. Perhaps through this eclipse, you will have a bit of a revelation about putting all of that together, connecting the dots on that. To really have a look at, okay, well, I thought that it's just them, but maybe it's me. I've set it up this way because of what I believe. I can change my belief, and then I can change, and I can simultaneously change the way that I act in this relationship. So for example, instead of complaining to them that they're not doing enough for you, you might want to start doing more things for yourself and less for them. And that will help you establish a new belief that, for example, my needs are the most important to me, and I will therefore give to myself first because that's what I value the most, for example. So that gives you just a little bit of insight into what to think about. If it is something to do with the law, you want to take a look at your beliefs around that. To what extent do you believe that other people have power over your life to make decisions on your behalf or on behalf of your life? To what extent is that really true? And what do you need to do, and what do you need to reframe in yourself to take back the balance of power, I suppose, in that situation? I mean, we can look at, for example, what's been going on in the life of Britney Spears, I suppose, and obviously not over the last 18 months, but over more than a decade, to sort of have a look at that. To what extent can someone else, and with the side of the law behind them, really ultimately have the final say over another person? And what does somebody in that situation, like she has been, what does she need to reframe in herself? What does she need to do? What does she need to change personally to get her power back? And is it true that she's just been just a victim of all of that, or is there a way that this is a powerful force in her life to help her reflect on something within herself? I would say that for all of us, it's always the latter. It's always that situation where everything is reflecting back to us something that we need to see in ourselves, and that is very much what the seventh house is always about. It's the mirror. What is the mirror showing you about beliefs inside yourself that you would be best changing and altering to rebalance all of that energy? Taking a look now at the 8th house. So the 8th house is beliefs about your boundaries in many ways. So what does that mean? So beliefs around who puts the boundaries in place, to what extent do others have the right to sort of trample over your boundaries, to what extent, what do you believe about other people's power over you? What do you believe about other people's ability to betray you, to empower you, to disempower you, to change your life, to really, what do you believe about outside forces and their ability to completely alter the direction of your life versus your ability to have your own boundaries and create your own sense of inner security and empowerment? So these are the sorts of the themes that you're looking at here. It can also be like that literally you might have been dealing over the last 18 months with things to do with other people's money, or you might have been really experiencing a lot of pressure in a particular area of your life that feels like it's really forcing you to change and transform in some way. All of that can be true, but yet all of it can be related to something that you're believing about any of these sorts of situations. So let's say that you've been feeling that other people in your life are just walking all over you, and you might believe it's them and you need to do something about them, but in reality you need to reflect on what sort of beliefs do you hold that make you believe that that's even a possibility, that other people could do that. What sort of boundaries can you instead put in place? How can you change your beliefs to feel entitled to having boundaries that you might need to protect yourself? Or if you feel that you have a belief right now that other people have so much power over your life and that you feel very disempowered, where does that come from? What's really the reality of that? Is that really true? Or is it just something that you've given power to? You've given your power away to them. And so this is the reality that you're living in because you have a belief that you are powerless in the first place. Is it really just a matter of circumstance? Or is it a repeating theme that you have been noticing these last 18 months in particular? It's most likely going to be the latter. It's some sort of pattern, a repeating theme, different faces, different scenarios, but same theme. And it's showing you something about a belief you want to release and transform. This is a moment to not transform yourself, but to transform your beliefs. And this is the opportunity that this solar eclipse is presenting you with. Taking a look now at the 9th house. So this is the Sagittarius house. So for sure, it's likely to be very much something to do with beliefs, to do with culture, to do with ethnicity, to do with your optimism, to do with beliefs about, yeah, it could be to do with beliefs about traveling long distance. It can be beliefs to do with higher education, knowledge, the media, publishing, the distribution of knowledge on a mass scale. Obviously, these are the big themes anyway that we're looking at as a collective, but with Sagittarius in your 9th house, then it's something that you're also experiencing in particular. Not to say that what you're experiencing is connected to what the collective is experiencing, but the themes could be the same, but you might be experiencing them differently. So you want to have a look at, and it may be just revealed to you anyway with this solar eclipse, something to release around your beliefs about knowledge, how it's distributed, how you engage with it, how you can know what's true, how you can believe what you read, believe in the sources of information, believe in the process by which information is disseminated. Perhaps this is a thing that has been ongoing for you for the last 18 months. And you might want to look at why you believe that it is the way it is. Like if you think this is very factual, this just is the way that it is, and I will deal with that. This is the society I'm living in. This is the cultural situation of my times. And so that's what I have to put up with. Is that true? Why do you believe that's true? Why do you believe that you just have to go along with whatever is being disseminated to you, especially if you don't believe it's true, especially if you believe that it's not true at all, or not factual, or a bunch of lies? Why do you feel that you have to go along with that? Why do you feel that you just have to swim along in the culture that you're a part of? Why can you not make your choices for yourself? What beliefs are holding you back? Where have you decided that that's the way things are, is just the way they are, and I have to put up with them? Where does that come from? Does that come from your childhood? Where does that come from? Take a look at that. See what you need to release. See how you can form a new belief and act differently. Do something different this December that takes a step forward, a small step forward, into a new way of operating within a new belief system. Taking a look now at the 10th house. Here we're really looking at beliefs around authority and your career and who you are publicly and about your achievement and all those sorts of things. So it's really a lot about public, career, authority, you as your public self. And when we're looking at that, take a look back at the last 18 months to see which of these themes have you been struggling with. It may be a repeating theme of your lifetime and not just something of the last 18 months, but it might be showing up differently with a different scenario and a different set of faces, but the same general thing. And if that is the case, then it's something really to pay attention to and really take the opportunity to analyze how your beliefs are intersected with this and how you might be able to change your beliefs to have a new beginning in this area. So it could be something that you're really noticing in your career, the way that you might believe that your boss completely decides on how good your work day is going to be or what opportunities you have. These are nothing to do with you. These are only to do with what your boss decides. So you can see the intersection of authority and career here. But is that ever true? Aren't you the one in control of your career? Aren't you the one in control of what you do in the world? Are you really handing over your authority to a boss? Do you need to do that? Is there a way that you can take back your own authority by changing your beliefs around how authority even happens? If it's on a larger scale with authority and you just believe that the authorities, so the government, etc., that they just dictate how you're able to be in public life. Can't dictate perhaps what's happening in your home, you might think, but you do believe that they are completely entitled and have the authority to say to you how your public life can be. And is that really true? When did you decide that? And what is that come from your childhood? Have you just always believed that those who have granted themselves authority have also granted themselves the right to tell you what to do? You want to really examine the beliefs around that to see which beliefs you've adopted, and so therefore just a belief that can be changed, and which new belief you might want to adopt and how you might start exercising that in a really proactive way. What's something small that you could do in December to take a step forward into living the life of this belief that you would rather have compared with the one that you used to have? All of this might be revealed to you. You might really have an epiphany on something to do with that during this solar eclipse. Taking a look at the 11th house now. So the 11th house is to do with beliefs around your ability to live your dream. Your ability is to do with your beliefs about your friendships, all sorts of friendships, but also the idea of like a soul family and your closest group. It's about your beliefs around your ability to be included in a group, to be a part of a group, to be a part of a movement. Your beliefs around even the necessity of movements to create change. It's all to do with this sort of, at one level, groups, as well as friendship groups, soul tribes, all of that sort of thing, but also your beliefs around your connection to your higher purpose, your ability to contribute, your ability to fulfill your highest dreams and ideals. So it's likely that one of these three areas has been highlighted for you in these last 18 months, and hopefully something might be revealed to you around this on the solar eclipse. And what you want to look at is how does that relate and highlight what you have believed in this area. So perhaps it is you believe that you are always going to be alone and you're not ever going to have this friendship group that you can really be a part of, that you can really feel close to. You're never going to be included. And again, where that comes from will be shown in other parts of your chart. And also you'll see that this is a recurring theme that has occurred during your childhood, and it's still there. And it's there because you believe something about that. You have a belief that you can change. You have the full power to change that. So is there something you need to release and something you need to believe instead, like that there are an abundance of friendships and people of your soul group that you can meet, for example, and that you're entitled to that. Perhaps you have a belief that you need to be a part of a cause, that there's always groups opposing other groups, and that is necessary, and that you need to be a part of a group that is fighting for their rights. But you don't actually enjoy that, let's say. But this is a belief that you have that in some way that groups joining together to fight for change, cultural change, whatever it might be, is necessary and is a part of the process, and that you're sort of relying on this to make change. But why do you think that? Where have you adopted that from? Where did you first see that? Why do you believe that? And what can you do to change that? What belief can you adopt instead? In what way can you, instead of seeing fragmented groups, what way can you envision more of we're all in this together? Because that is also a very 11th house vibe and possibility. So you want to have a look at what you've been believing that has been holding you back, especially whatever you've noticed in the last 18 months. And you want to see what can you let go of now, and what new beginning can you start by planting the seed of a new belief. And taking a look at the 12th house. So if this solar eclipse is happening for you in the 12th house, this is beliefs about the collective, about the beliefs about oneness. It's beliefs about your spirituality. It's beliefs about your isolation. It's beliefs that are contributing to illusions and delusions. It's beliefs that are contributing to addictions. It's beliefs that are contributing to feelings of being locked away, isolated, and those sorts of things. And these things you want to take a look at, and you'll notice which of those resonates more by thinking back over the last 18 months. And hopefully also something will be revealed to you with this eclipse where you will notice what particularly it means for you. So it could be that you feel great sense of, you believe that you're just very isolated, very locked away from the life that you want to live, and that you have to then live in a certain way, in a sort of confinement almost. But what has led you to believe that? There'll be many, many things that could be contributing to that? Like, where is that fear coming from? Is that fear founded? 12th house is really a lot about fear. And is there a new way to look at things so that that actually can be released and changed into something else? Can you trace the source of the fear that has led to this feeling of needing to live in an isolated way? Is there a way that you can reframe that? Is there information that you can find to help support a new way of thinking and believing? It could be, though, that we're looking at a greater sense of feeling very detached, very disconnected, very disillusioned with the meaningfulness of life. Like, you have no spiritual foundation, you feel cut off from that, from the source of life. It's a sense of a real existential crisis, a real meaninglessness that is coming from, a deep sense of despair, etc. But all of that stems from, of course, your beliefs. So you want to trace where those beliefs have originated. Where did you adopt that? Where did you come to believe that? And which beliefs can you shift and change around that to try to change that energy completely? Is there a way that you can find a sense of connection with life? First of all, potentially with something spiritual would be even better. A spiritual connection to plug you back into this existence, to re-engage you and to make yourself enthusiastic again with regarding zest for life, a reason for living, an overall meaningfulness. Can you shift and change your beliefs to facilitate that? And hopefully something will spark that in you with this solar eclipse that helps you do that. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope that's been helpful. I hope that provides some insight that is able to take you through this eclipse period that we're having, and to really make it an empowering experience and something that propels you forward in your own personal growth and evolution. See you next time.